Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. You guessed it, you get a solo episode with yours truly today. I tell you what, man, I do my best thinking, it seems, in two places. Number one is in the shower. Number two is in my truck. We're going to leave the shower thinking to another time, but the truck thinking, you know, it's a nice thing that or a good thing that I've got a damn comfortable truck because I'm in it a lot. And it's one of those few places where, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent, I feel like I can kind of shut off all of my distractions, right? I don't feel like I certainly don't check email while I'm driving. I don't feel like I have to respond to text messages, you know, in quite as quick a fashion anyways when I'm driving. I use CarPlay, so I don't freak out. But anyways, I can kind of shut my mind or shut my distractions off and let my mind kind of wander, kind of dig into whatever might be brewing at any given time. So I want to talk about today, it's going to be a quick hitter. You know, these solo ones kind of give Dillon and I both a chance to just kind of get on and spit some fire about what's going on in our worlds, in our minds. So that's what today is. I want to talk about the importance of following a process and of not procrastinating. And it's something that it's weighing heavy on me today. I'm actually driving by my lonesome back to our old house, to my old studio, the old barn. We finally have an offer inked on the place, and we're getting, you know, cautiously optimistic that it's going to go through. So it's probably about time that I go and get all my shit out of the barn. Frankly, it's been time to go get my shit out of the barn for like 2 months, but I've procrastinated. There hasn't been a looming deadline ahead. So instead of just getting it done with and you know, relaxing in the fact that I don't have this big task hanging over my head, I've let it just slip. You know, it's a weird feeling owning two houses at once. It's not one that I've ever had. It's not one that my wife's ever had. But that's where we're at right now. We've been there for about 2.5 months, and I've just let it slip. So my old barn is still full of tools and crap and stuff for the business. So it's finally kind of reached a head when I realized, like, enough's enough. We got to get this done, because there will come a day when, oh shit, all of a sudden now I have an absolute deadline, an absolute time when I have to be done, have to be cleaned out and empty. So we're going there today. I rented a dumpster. I'm going to purge the living crap out of my crap, so to speak. So that'll be good on a lot of ways too. It'll be good to kind of recognize that, you know, I've been living, and the business has been living for a few months now with no need for most of the stuff that's over there. So in that end, you know, why take up the time to move it yet again? Why take up new storage space at the new HQ? So anyways, we're going to go handle that today. My wife's actually following me, so we've got double the horsepower, double the storage room in our vehicles for that stuff that we are not just tossing. But anyways, you know, Ed Milet, one of my mentors, he has a great saying that has stuck with me since the very first time I ever heard it. And I vowed actually to get this tattooed on myself someday, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but it's coming soon. But his saying is, procrastination is a thief and fear is a liar. Think about that for a minute. Really kind of let that sink in. Procrastination is a thief and fear is a liar. I want to focus on the first half today. Maybe we'll get into the second half on another show, but procrastination really is a thief. It robs you of precious time. It robs you of the joy and contentment of success, of completing a task, of reaching a goal. It steals from you your sense of well-being, of knowing that you don't have things still looming over your head that have to be taken care of, that you've let slip and slide, and that you've ignored, frankly, for so long. I had this same problem when I was in school. You know, if there wasn't if a paper or a project wasn't due, you know, very, very quickly, I would let it sit, and I wouldn't work on it until the very last minute. And then all of a sudden now, you know, cortisol levels spike, stress goes way through the roof. There's no way in hell you ever produce your best work, right? And that's what procrastination does to you. It steals and it robs you of those moments of clarity where you could be kind of basking in the sunlight of success and in the happiness of knowing that you completed your task. So just keep that in mind when you're moving about your day, in your personal life, in your business life. We see this all the time in the business, right? We typically run on a 2-week schedule. So from when I bring a prospect in the door till the time when I need to be going to present to that prospect, present budgets, present designs, whatever it may be, we try to keep that to about a 2-week cycle. That 2-week deadline helps us to maintain clarity of our own, to maintain our own schedules, to maintain a pace and a cadence, and keep our momentum up so that we don't start slipping into complacency and missing targets and not doing our best work. But just like as what happens in personal life, in business life, when for whatever reason those deadlines start moving, sometimes the client isn't available in 2 weeks. Sometimes there's something you're waiting for. Sometimes there's a design consultant that's dragging his feet, which happens almost all of the time. You all know who I'm talking about, and you're all on my shit list, just for the record. But when things happen and take our, we'll call them artificial deadlines that we impose, and allow us to then think that, okay, yeah, we normally should do this in 2 weeks, but we're waiting on X, Y, and Z, and we're not going to have it for another 2 weeks. It allows us internally to say, well, we can reprioritize things, and we can shift deadlines, we can let priorities slip, so that the 2-week effort now isn't really going to be done for 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 10 weeks, or whatever it may be. And what happens when you start doing that, when you start letting things slip and you start shifting priorities, is that you stop the momentum, you stop the forward drive, you stop the benefit of creating your best output over and over again, and you start slacking and you start slipping back to the mediocre. That's what happens. It's inevitable. It's human nature. So I'm not pointing fingers necessarily at anyone other than the design consultants. It's human nature to let things slip, and it's human nature that when then all of a sudden you go back to that whatever effort it was. In our case, in my example, working for a prospect, working for a client, trying to put a project together to go present in a meaningful way to get that client to put their trust in us as a construction and development partner, which is what we need, by the way, to survive. We need to have those wins. We need constant wins to keep feeding the beast, otherwise we all will sink. We've talked about the holes in the boat. Well, this is one of them. Procrastination is a giant hole in the boat. And when you procrastinate, you lose. You stop following your process. And when you stop following the process, you lose almost every single time. So I'm not going to get into specifics, mainly due to when the date that this post is going to air. We've got some stuff we're going to be talking about internally, and we're going to, yet again, put a big focus on plugging some of these damn holes that keep springing up in our boat, in our ship. It's a natural part of growing. We've talked about it. I've talked about it numerous times, the holes in the boat theory. I'm not sure that you ever plug them all, or that new ones don't pop up from time to time. I'm quite certain that new ones will always pop up as you keep getting bigger and bigger and growing more and more. There's bound to be new holes, new things that pop up that reduce your efficiency, that reduce your effectiveness, and it's part of the job of owning a business, of being a leader, of taking a team and moving them forward, to constantly be reevaluating what needs to be done to plug all these new holes. Because again, if you let those holes go, your boat will sink. Your ship will end up breaking in half, and everybody floats to the bottom of the ocean, and that's a bad way to end it. So that's all I got for you today, guys. I was going to get a little more specific, but I changed my mind mid-stride because there's some other things going on. Don't let procrastination be your thief. Don't let procrastination steal from you one of your most precious resources, if not the most precious resource that any of us will ever have, your time. When you think you have more time and you procrastinate and you put things off, you end up costing yourself more time in the long run. You cost yourself time spent content, time spent in a successful mindset, time spent winning, and you end up costing yourself so much more time spent in the dark side, in the stress, in the cortisol pool, in the reality that now deadlines are pressing and now you don't actually have the time you thought you did because you put off too much of it in the very beginning. Procrastination is a thief, guys. Don't let it steal from you. Okay? That's my message for today. I hope you take it to heart. If you got anything from today's show, as usual, please give us a like, give us a share, spread this around to those who need to hear it, and we will keep coming back every Tuesday for you. Until next time, guys, have a great week. We'll see you.